there, welcome back to another episode of Help Me JT. Before I begin, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to all of you that have been submitting your questions in our private Facebook group. I don't know if you know this, but we are the fastest growing private career support group on Facebook, and it's totally free. So if you're not a member and you're watching this video, make sure you click the link, come join us, because it is amazing what is happening inside there. But now down to business, because we got a question this week and I really want to address it. So the question was, hey JT, while I've gotten some calls about my resume, most jobs I've applied to go to internal candidates. How do I change the course of my job search to be more competitive with those candidates and land more interviews? Love this question. So right now we have low unemployment, and that actually makes it a more competitive job market, if you can believe that. And the reason for that is that in a low unemployment, people are more confident and they take more risks. They're willing to change jobs. So there are a lot more people applying to jobs out there. So it's already more challenging, believe it or not, to get an interview right now. But on top of that, you're up against internal candidates. And if you think about it, a really good company does want to promote their internal candidates. They want to reward the people that have joined their company and worked hard for them and grown their skills. So you'll see a lot of that. You'll see people lose out to internal candidates. And I know that's frustrating. So what can you do to compete? Well, I'm going to give you 2 tips today. First of all, when you go into the interview, go in prepared to have a discussion around the internal candidates that you're competing against. That's right. What you want to do when it becomes your turn to ask questions is to say, can you tell me a little bit about who I'm competing against for this position? Do you have any internal candidates for this role? And what makes them a good fit for this role? So you want to be able to start to have that very calm discussion around who am I competing against and what do they bring to the table? When they share that information, you'll then be able to say, you know, that makes sense. They do sound like a great candidate. And with that in mind, I want to share a little bit about my experience, what I think I bring that's different to the table. And that's something that you want to think about in advance, because an internal candidate comes with the internal way of thinking. They're going to do it the way they've always done it because they've been part of the company. You bring something called fresh eyes or fresh perspective. And so you really want to hit on that for them, as well as any other experience that you bring that's different. Maybe you come from a competitor, or you have additional industry knowledge or more years of experience, but you're never going to know what to talk about and share about yourself to compete if you don't first get that dialogue going about those candidates, and specifically those internal candidates. Now, the second tip that I want to give you when it comes down to this is to remember that if you don't get this job, you shouldn't just throw this whole experience away. Instead, if they let you know that, hey, we went with the internal candidate, you want to show your true colors here and your character. And you want to say things like, I'm really glad you found the right person for the job, and I am happy to hear that you're promoting from within. With that in mind, I'd like to stay in touch with you. Can you tell me how I can be proactive and stay on your radar screen for future opportunities? Because I really enjoyed this interview experience with you, and I'd love to become part of your team someday. You see, it's all in how you handle that rejection, because they're not saying no, not ever. They're saying no, not today. And if you show the respect and you respond in that way and show praise for that internal candidate, just think about what that says about you as a professional. On top of that, you've already been through their interview process and were one of the final candidates. So when another job opens up, maybe something that you're even a better fit for, who are they going to think about calling? Instead of posting the job, they might dial you up and say, hey, we've got a different position open, come on in. So you want to nurture and build that relationship off of that one experience. And that's one of the best ways I'm seeing people today actually win. Maybe they lose the first time against the internal candidate, but they ultimately win the game because they made such a great impression, they called them back when another job came available. All right, there you have it. 2 ways you can be more competitive in this job market, especially against internal candidates. Remember, if you want to get your question answered on Help Me JT, you need to be part of our private Facebook group. It's 100% free. It is the fastest growing private career support group on Facebook. Check out the link, sign up, post your questions, and you just might see your question answered on the next Help Me JT. All right, take care, everyone. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.